Yeah, good. Trained today and ready to go.
Was there ever a fear that you were going to miss this last game?
Um, a little bit, yeah. Last week was a bit of a struggle with swelling and fluid and stuff like that. So it's just managing that and then making sure I get the right amount of training in this week to be able to perform and but also not do too much that swells it up again. So no, it's good to go. Feels good and yeah, I'm ready.
With Josh in here a few minutes ago, he was chatting about the Fiji game. He used the word standards a lot. Did you feel, looking at that game, that standards maybe slipped a little bit more than they should have? And is that something you've kind of addressed coming into this week?
Yeah, it's how we judge every performance. Even some of our big wins over the years or the last couple of years have been, I suppose, not at the level required from the coaches. The standard that they see, and you guys might think it's brilliant, this, that, the other, and then we look at the same things and we get criticised, or not criticised, but we try and learn from it and get better together. But it certainly wasn't at the level that that we want and expect of each other, and it's a collective thing and something that we need to try and put right this week against a team that will be hurting, I think, from the Italian game, but also a team that was a couple of minutes away from beating France in France, which is obviously a tough thing to do. Every other team has found out that as well.
And on this week, what's the importance of this group of a clean sweep in these 3 games?
It's not really about a clean sweep. It's just about the next game and getting a brilliant performance out there. So when you get to international rugby, like, it's about winning, of course, but you're never truly satisfied until you play well and you win, and then you can be content in the dressing room after and enjoy a beer together. But when you don't play well and you win, you might as well be in a losing dressing room. Well, not quite, but nearly.
Johnny, congrats on your nomination for World Player of the Year. Is that something that still means something to you?
Yeah, look, it's always nice to be recognised like that. I'm not going to lie about it. It's not something you go searching for or a thing, but it's to be recognised in that area is very special. I'd prefer a win and to play well on Saturday than win that, but because ultimately at the end of the day it's opinion. Whereas what you produce on Saturday is what it is, what you see, and it's the only thing you control. So all my focus is on that, and like I said, to be recognised is enough.
In terms of just looking back in the Fiji game, do you feel personally disappointed when you talked about this squad wanting to win the World Cup next year and set your goals that high? Would you prefer when the second string, that's called it, or the squad players are playing, that more people are stepping up and people are putting pressure on you and all the other guys who aren't playing this week?
Well, I don't think it was second string. I think it was the Irish team, and it was the majority of the first team were playing. That was why it was disappointing. Now it's always tough to come back after a very good victory the week before, but at the same time, come World Cup or Six Nations, you need to produce week on week. And we made a few changes based on injuries. They weren't selection things. They were literally guys weren't fit, and we need to be better come World Cup. Playing against a team, we got Tonga in our pool, and that they'll find you out. They're good teams now. They're very. You look at the Fijian coaching team; it's pretty impressive, and they were good, and we probably didn't hit the standards that we wanted to.
What did you talk about this week to try and make that right?
Well, I can't go into too much detail because I'm talking to the Australians as well. We talk about playing our game and basing what we see in the video to our standards, and we didn't see that, and a lot of them were big things that everyone would have seen. The accuracy, the ill discipline, it was pretty evident, I think.
Johnny, just maybe following on from one of the questions there, do you believe there's enough depth in this Irish squad to, as you head into a World Cup year, maybe even compared to the other squads that you've been part of heading into a World Cup year?
It's very hard to know, isn't it? Like, you go back to 2015 and we thought we had good depth, and you lose 6 players in one game, and suddenly, a bit like last week, you lose 6 players. It's a lot of changes to make the week after, and we probably didn't cope with that, and we didn't probably cope with it on Saturday as much as we would have liked. So they're the things we need to work on. But there's areas of our game from the South Africa game as well. I'm not putting it all down to Fiji. There's areas of our game that teams are going to come after us in a different way because we're whatever, if you want to say, number one in the world, or we've got some good results under our belt. They're going to come after us and they're going to try and mess us up, and we haven't over the 2-week game so far, we haven't handled that as well as we would have liked.
And Johnny, how did you feel that Joey Carberry and of course Jack Crowley as well making his debut, how they did?
Yeah, look, it's up to the coaches to I think they did well. It's not up to me to comment too much on my competition. I can't big them up too much, and I definitely can't criticise out halves because you're looking at the game and you're going. It's very easy to sit there and go, I could have done this, but it's a tough place to go and control things, and if the team's not quite functioning around you, it can be hard to make a real good impression. But I think they did well. For Jack to come on so early on his debut and handle things really well, he'd be delighted with himself, and within that the coaches would have spoken to him about how to keep improving, and like they always do, they're still doing that with every player. So they did well, and for Jack especially, he's young, and where he wants to take his career is totally up to him in terms of he's got the talent, he's got the brain, he's got everything going. He just needs to go and fulfill it now.
And this is what you've talked about, to have the strength and depth within the squad to push on, I suppose, for that World Cup. I'm sure is at the back of your mind, so you want to have a full strength squad obviously with the injuries as well. Being able to back up week on week is a huge part of a World Cup, and obviously the South African game was incredibly physical and attritional, and a lot of sore bodies last week, which maybe affected the performance a little bit against Fiji. So we need to look into that. I know when we play South Africa in the World Cup, we've got 2 weeks after that game before we play Scotland, which is a good thing based on the last game. But it's something that's part of the game. The team that generally has the best injury record through the World Cup seems to win. If you look at the South African team, the New Zealand teams that have won it, they barely got an injury through it. I don't think that happens by chance. I think it's just good planning and in good condition. And did you give Tig any advice as he captained Ireland for the first time?
No, he doesn't need advice, Tig. He's been brilliant over the last number of years as a player. Obviously, he's one of our best players and world class in his position, and does things that not a lot of many other front rowers can do. But then when it comes to captaincy, it was his first time, but he's been leading. Nothing changed for him. He's been leading behind the scenes brilliantly. So he was himself, and the performance probably didn't reflect what a good job he did. But we got a win for him, and for the lads on their first caps as well.
Johnny, just away from your game for a sec, can you just say a few words about Owen Farrell? He's going to win his 100th England cap. Just wondered if you could give a bit of an appreciation of what a good player he's been.
Yeah, outstanding. Been an amazing player for England over the years, and I suppose how good he is, you can see it when when he's not there. When he was missing, he's that sort of glue that keeps the team together. He's you've seen a lot of I've played with him and I've been in the dressing room with him where his leadership is outstanding, and he goes into a even uniquer. There's not many English players that have got to 100 caps, and I think it's only two before him, is it? So it's an amazing achievement for him, and I'll drop him a line at some stage and say congrats. But great ambassador for that team.
I was going to say you got well with the Lions, so do you keep in touch?
We do a bit. Had a few run-ins as well, so it's not as cosy as everyone would think. But he's a great competitor, and utmost respect from a guy that I've looked at closely over the years. Lucky enough to play with him and tried to take some of his game and try and put it into my game. And he's I can't say my words won't do him justice, I don't think.